In today's video, we're comparing two beasts in terms of camera, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra versus the Vivo X200 Pro. Two smartphones that have incredible camera capabilities, but which one is the better one? In today's video, I'm not really going to be comparing the phones as they are, as both of them are incredible in their own right. But today I wanted to compare just the cameras on the two smartphones. So the Xiaomi 14 Ultra has a quad camera setup, with all the cameras being a 50 megapixel camera sensors, while the main camera sensor being a 1-inch sensor, meaning it's much bigger than smartphone cameras usually are. On the other hand, the Vivo X200 Pro has a triple camera setup, with the main camera being a 50 megapixel, a wide-angle lens that is also a 50 megapixel camera sensor, and the telephoto, a periscope lens, is a 200 megapixel sensor. So in just that regard, we have a quad camera setup versus a triple camera setup. The difference here is the Xiaomi 14 Ultra has a ×1, which is the main camera sensor, the ×1/2, which is the ultra wide angle lens, and then we have a ×3, which is about a 75mm equivalent, and then we have a ×5, which is about a 120mm equivalent. So we have a nice zoom range from really wide to a much more zoomed in lens. Well, on the Vivo X200 Pro, we have the wide-angle lens, then we have the main camera lens, and then the periscope lens is actually equivalent to 85mm. It's a little bit more than the telephoto on the Xiaomi, but less than its periscope lens. But because it's a 200 megapixel sensor, you can digitally zoom in and still have really good image quality. I would say that both of these cameras provide great HDR performance. Both provide really sharp and nice looking photos. So I would say that no matter which one you pick, you're going to be happy with the photos that come out of those phones. But there are a couple of differences between them. For example, both have different artistic styles. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra has the Leica Authentic and the Leica Vibrant, while the Vivo X200 Pro has the Vivid, the Textured, and my favorite, the Zeiss Natural. I would say the last one is my preferred on the Vivo X200 Pro. I just felt like the colors were accurate while having that nice, artistic style to it. Everything just looked really good in that mode for me at least, but you have different options, so you can pick between those three. Where in the Xiaomi 14 Ultra you have the Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant. The Leica Authentic tends to be a little bit more, I would say, desaturated and a little bit more, dramatic effect with a little bit of added, vignette to the photos compared to the Vibrant. The Vibrant is more like a much more colorful and, much more eye-pleasing photo. So it all depends on what you want to shoot and how you want the photos to look like. But I would say both of these have really nice color accuracy. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra definitely has that nice Leica calibration with that color accuracy really well done. And I would say both look really good. But on the side-by-side comparison, in person, I felt like the Vivo was actually the one that looked a little bit more eye-pleasing to me. But you're gonna have to decide that for yourself. I feel like those two phones are really similar in their performance, and even the look of the back panel is pretty similar. So I would say that it might end up to be that it's gonna be your own personal preference. But I did feel slightly towards the Vivo when doing the comparison. But I had amazing pictures with Xiaomi 14 Ultra before, and maybe I'm a little bit biased because I have this as my daily driver, but I will still say that maybe like 1% more, I kind of prefer the Vivo. It's kind of hard to decide. I guess they're both good in their own rights. And it's definitely something harder to notice when shooting with just one of them and not having them side by side. Both of these phones can shoot in JPEG and RAW, so you can actually take the photos in RAW and edit them in post-production on your phone or on your laptop. And both of these phones support Pro modes for photos, so you can dial in all the settings the way you want to. And both these phones can actually support the 50 megapixel mode, meaning you take advantage of those 50 megapixel sensors. In terms of more similar features, you have portrait modes on both. Well, the Xiaomi takes a little bit more dramatic, I would say a little bit more desaturated and a little bit more sharp and contrasty portraits. I felt the Vivo was a little bit more natural looking and just overall a little bit colorful. So it's still, once again, something that is up to you to decide which kind of a photo you like more. But I once again felt that the Vivo was just a little bit more eye-pleasing. But in a nice sunny location, the Xiaomi 14 Ultra did take a nice colorful portrait mode too. So it's really dependent on the situation, and if the colors were not as colorful as they were while testing the phones, the Vivo just looked a little bit more colorful. And both of these phones, thanks to their zoom capabilities, can take moonshots. Maybe they're not perfect, but it's possible. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you can take some really cool shots with those two smartphones. The one nice feature that the Xiaomi 14 Ultra has, the main camera sensor actually has a variable aperture, meaning you can close up or open up the eye of that main camera sensor. Thanks to this, you can change your shutter speed or the way the photo looks. Overall, it's a nice feature to have in a smartphone for both photos and videos. And speaking of videos, both of these smartphones are amazing for that too. But there are some differences. Both can record in 8K 30 frames per second, but the Vivo is supposedly only in China. Well, the Vivo is not available globally, so we're gonna see if that is the truth. But at the moment, this Vivo can shoot in 8K 30 frames per second, while the Xiaomi can also do that. Both of these phones can record in 4K 120 frames per second for that nice, crispy, slow motion. And also, both of these phones can record in 4K 60 frames per second across all of the lenses, which is a feature that I love on these phones, that I can seamlessly switch from one lens to another while recording a video in 4K 60 frames per second. I just love that feature, and both of these phones can do that. I would say the colors and the dynamic range on both of these phones are amazing. It's gonna be up to your personal preference which one you like more, but I would say both are really good, and I would say that most people are gonna be happy with both of these phones. I did feel like the Vivo had a little bit better stabilization in terms of video. We did a little bit of a running test and side by side, and the Vivo had better stabilization than the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. You can actually put a better stabilization on the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, but you're gonna have to take a hit on the quality of the video, where the Vivo just performed much better in that test. Both these phones can record in 10-bit, and both of these phones can record in log format, leaving you with more flexibility in post-production. But there is a difference here too. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra can record up to 4K 60 frames per second in the log format on the main camera sensor, while the Vivo X200 Pro can record in the log format across all the camera sensors in 4K 60 frames per second. That was actually a nice thing that I didn't expect it from Vivo, and that is one of the differences between the two phones. Both of these phones can record in the portrait videos, but usually that is something that I don't use. I just feel like it's a little bit too artificial to my liking, but I would say they both perform really good in the video department. In conclusion, I would say both of these phones are amazing, and both of these phones feel like a camera attached to a phone, that just, a camera that has a phone in them. In this comparison, I'm gonna say it's a really hard comparison because the two are really good. And I feel like some people might prefer just a different style of a photo or a video, the colors, and overall artistic styles. So it's gonna be a harder comparison than we had before with different phones. But if I had to choose, I'm gonna say this: the Xiaomi 14 Ultra has that more like the artistic, special look that some people are gonna love and some might not like as much, where the Vivo is gonna be a little bit more for everyone. I would say it's a little bit more colorful, and I just feel like this might be the new camera king. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be your personal preference. What do you prefer in the phone in terms of what it has inside? But even there, they're gonna be pretty similar in many aspects. So I would say the Vivo might be the better smartphone of the two, and also a better camera phone of the two, but it's not really available just yet compared to the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. So I would say it's really dependent on what you're looking for in phone and your personal preference. But both are amazing. If you have any more questions about the Vivo or the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, let me know in the comment section down below, or check out the video reviews of both of the phones on my channel. With that being said, that is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.